Hello. Today we are going to talk about virus. First of all, we'll see what is a virus. Virus is a tiny infectious agent. It cannot be classified as a living organism or non-living organism. We'll see what is the reason for that. Though virus is a cell, it is not like a normal cell. If you can remember the previous lesson, we briefly discussed about a plant cell and an animal cell. So, in there, we talk about the parts of the animal and plant cell. Can you remember what are the parts of animal cell and plant cell? Basically, they had cytoplasm, nucleus, cell membrane, and mitochondria. In plant cells, there were cell wall, chloroplast, and vacuoles. But in a virus cell, we cannot see these kind of structures or organelles. Before moving to the structure of the virus, we just discuss some things about the viruses. As I mentioned earlier, it cannot be considered as a living cell or non-living cell. The reason is virus cells are not showing living characteristics of life. Do you know what are the living characteristics of life? Basically, they are respiration, reproduction, movement, growth, nutrition, and sensitivity, expression, like those things. But in case of viruses, they are only showing few living characteristics like reproduction or replication. Sometimes they may be showing kind of sensitivity also, but we cannot see that they are growing, they are taking nutrition, they are moving like that way. They don't have most of the living characteristics. So viruses are considering as parasites. So they need a host cell to survive. Then we'll consider the characteristics of viruses. Viruses are extremely small organisms. Actually, when we consider about the microorganisms, even bacteria and fungi and other types of microorganisms, they are a little bit bigger than the virus. Viruses are very minute organisms and we can see it only through electron microscope. So, by using a simple microscope or a compound microscope, we cannot observe a virus. Rather than that, they don't have a cellular structure and they are containing genetic materials as us. They may be DNA or RNA. Normally, they don't have both DNAs and RNAs. They may be containing properly DNA or RNAs. They cannot carry out life processes on their own. They will be showing their living characteristics once they enter to a living cell. So this is the structure of a virus. Can you see there is an envelope and they have a spikes, capsid, and nucleic acid. What are those nucleic acid? Basically, there are two types of nucleic acid. They are DNA and RNA. Contains instructions to make new virus. Genetic material. So these are considering as the genetic material of viruses. Control replication inside the host cell. So all the actions, not only the replication, whatever the actions inside the viral cell is controlling with the help of this nucleic acid. Then you can see protein code or the capsid protects the genetic material. It will be helping to protect the genetic material. Nucleic acid or the genetic materials are surrounded by this capsid or the protein code. Then you can see envelope. Envelope can be seen in some viruses. It is a lipid layer from hot cell membrane. Help virus enter to the hot cell. Basically, these viruses are showing their living characteristics once they entered the living cell. So, this envelope is helps virus to enter to the living cell. Then you can see the spike-like structures. Those are also a type of protein, and it is used to attach to specific receptor on host cell. So by using these spikes, they will be entering inside to the host cell, and this will be helping to determine the host specificity. Maybe you already know the virus diseases. These are the examples for virus diseases. Influenza viruses, COVID-19 virus, HIV, measles, mumps, chickenpox. So, viruses are causing diseases to humans, not only for humans, but also for animals and plants. Viruses are causing diseases. Now we will consider how viruses reproduce or replicate. First of all, virus cell is attached into the host cell. Then it will be injecting the genetic material. What are the genetic materials? DNA or RNA. So this DNA or RNA will be injecting inside to the host cell. Then they will be using host cell to make new viruses. They will be making what are the parts of the virus? Envelopes, spikes, capsid, again the nucleic acid they will be making. And after that, they will be assembling new virus cells inside the host cell. Finally, millions of virus cells will be producing inside the host cell, and finally the host cell will be burst and releasing new viruses to the environment. You can go through this diagram and have a clear idea about the virus replication or the reproduction. So this is a summary of today's lesson. Viruses are microscopic and non-cellular organisms. They reproduce only inside a host cell. They are causing many diseases, not only for us, but also for plants, animals, even to some other microorganisms like bacteria. Prevention is very important from viral diseases. Thank you very much for watching.